on South Asia is brought to you by Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo, together we'll go far.
Hello and welcome to Eye on South Asia. I'm Bhavna Vanan.
And I'm Sanjeev Pandya.
Every week we'll bring to you headlines and current events with the South Asian community. Sanjeev, let's start with our big headlines for this week.
This one is really big headline.
Yes.
We just talked about it last week.
Exactly.
Yes.
So Fareed Zakaria is back in business after being suspended for just, what, 1 week?
That's right. Yeah, it was only 1 week, and last week we mentioned in our show that, after he was sacked by CNN for using, someone else's material or copied someone else's material in his blog and I guess in his show, finally CNN realized, and Time Warner also realized that it was an unintentional mistake made by Zakaria. So he's back.
Yes, and during his suspension, CNN and Time had said that they were suspending his show indefinitely, but they were going to review his works, such as his blog, his TV shows, and documentaries. And they found that this was, like you said, an isolated incident. They didn't find any other pattern of plagiarism. So yeah, his GPS show will return on August 26th, and his column in Time magazine will come back on September 7th.
Right, so on Time and CNN, Fareed Zakaria's thoughtful and important work will be back, and I think a powerful personality of Indian origin will be back on CNN TV, and that's such a great news.
Yes, but you know what I think? During this election season, I mean, these TV channels cannot afford to lose such a powerful force such as Fareed Zakaria.
Right.
His show is very popular, has big ratings. You wouldn't want to lose.
Very well received by even dignitaries also. His show known as GPS, meaning Global Public Square, that's what it means, has been very well received by everyone. So it's good that CNN and the Time realized that this was an honest, unintentional error, and now he's back. So all the best to Fareed Zakaria.
Yes, congratulations for his return. And on that note, we have several Indian Americans who are going to be featured as, I guess, superstars at these presidential conventions.
Right.
The Democratic and the Republican presidential conventions. On the Democratic side, we have the first woman Attorney General of California, the Indian American Kamala Harris. She's going to be speaking and endorsing Obama, as she has done in the past during his 2008 run and for his 2004 Senate run. So she's going to be speaking along with former President Bill Clinton, and several other names are mentioned. There's also another Indian American named Shefali Razdan Dugal, who's going to be speaking with Kamala Harris. She's another prominent Indian American from California nominated to speak at this event. So that is the Democratic side, and that convention takes place in September.
In September, Charlotte, North Carolina. The Republican convention is in Tampa, Florida, next week, or end of August, that we should say. So that's when they're scheduled to happen. And just like you say, some powerful personalities, Indian Americans, who will get a chance to speak at the convention. This is the first time that this many individuals will get a chance to speak at the convention, whether it's a Republican convention or Democratic convention.
Right.
From Republican side, our so-called favorite Nikki Haley and Bobby Jindal, of course, they're going to be there.
Yes.
On the Democratic side, you mentioned Kamala Harris, who is actually Attorney General for state of California.
Yes, exactly.
Right. She, I think, she is a child of Indian mother and African American father, who actually supported Obama for his presidential campaign in 2008, and before that for the Congress. So, she's really a staunch supporter of Barack Obama.
Right. Yes, so I think the Republican convention is really something to be looking forward to, because we're just not used to having so much of an Indian presence in that arena. And another name that, several other names that are going to be speaking at these conventions are people who are running for Congress, U.S. Congress, 4 Democrats and 1 Republican. And the 4 Democrats are Upendra Chivkula from New Jersey, Amy Bera from California, Manan Trivedi from Pennsylvania, and Syed Taj from Michigan.
Right.
And of course, the Republican is none other than Ricky Gill.
Ricky Gill.
Yes.
And going back to Ami Bera, Manan Trivedi, and Syed Taj, they are all doctors.
Yes, except for Chivkula.
Yeah, Chivkula actually, he is currently Deputy Speaker of New Jersey Assembly. So he is, I think, one of the first elected Indian officials in the country. So Chivkula has been in the New Jersey State Assembly for I would say at least last 80 years or so.
Right, and several of these people, just like Barack Obama had been speaking at the when he was in the Senate a long time ago, it was kind of like a foreshadowing to his run all the way to the White House. We have Ricky Gill and several other stars who are going to be present.
Ricky Gill is, I
someone
guess,
to watch out for.
Absolutely, there is a spotlight that follows him at age 25, known as a young gun. This kid from California, and he's really a kid, only 25 years old.
Yes.
Ranjit, his real name is Ranjit Gill, known as Ricky Gill. He's going to be speaking at the convention, at Republican convention.
Right, and he says that his remarks at the convention will actually focus on giving our communities a voice and ensuring the survival of American dream for those to come. So
That's right.
He seems to be stressing a lot on our communities. Now, I'm not sure if that is talking about, his congressional district that he's running for, or is it the Indian American community? It's not exactly clear, but he is an upcoming star.
Well, it says, it actually shows because Convention Chief Executive Officer William Harris said in a statement that we're extremely pleased that Ricky Gill will be able to address the delegates, alternate delegates, and other convention guests. So that shows that, they are really keeping an eye on this guy because he can attract a lot of Indians, and especially, South Asians into the Republican Party.
Exactly. And speaking of attracting Indian Americans in the polls, it's interesting to note that we have so much of a representation here in this election season.
Well, I would say so little.
So much of a representation on the national stage.
Right.
However, when it comes to the actual population,
it's so little.
It's so little.
0.5% of U.S.'s population is what comprises Indian Americans. It's less than 1 million Indian Americans in a country
who are eligible to vote.
Exactly.
And however, we can note that the voting age population of Indian Americans has pretty much doubled from the year 2000, when it was around 576,000, and it's grown to slightly over 1 million voters.
Right.
And so they do have voting power, but they don't quite have the power to actually change the outcome. And however, what they do lack in terms of that power in numbers, they compensate with money and fundraisers and donations and that sort of thing. I think our community is very active when it comes to supporting a candidate and fundraising for them. If they do support our cause, we're very loyal to making sure that they take the stage.
Well, that has been true till now, but now I think members from our community are getting into politics. This year there are going to be 5 Indian origin candidates, 4 Democrats and 1 Republican. The Republican that we just talked about is Ricky Gill, and the other 4 candidates from Democrat Party. So they are entering into politics, and soon we're going to have a first congressman, woman, first senator, of Indian origin. I think the time is coming now. It's not that far, and of course, outcome of this election, which is going to be on November 6th, that is going to decide the fate of these candidates. But at least they're taking plunge into it, and they are hopeful and optimistic, and we are proud of them.
Yes, and what's interesting to note is we have Democrats and Republicans trying to woo votes from, let's say, the Hispanic communities. That's one of the biggest sought-after communities.
Right.
And that is because they represent so much of the U.S. population.
True.
But at the same time, they're trying to woo the Indian American communities as well, because our community is actually one of the most affluent of the minority populations.
That is the key thing, because they know community is very affluent.
Yes.
Community, community salary-wise, I think they are way far ahead than any other immigrant community, and the community is into better placement when it comes to job and study and everything.
Right.
So they know it's not only the votes, but the credibility comes with the votes from Indian American community. That's what they like.
Yes. So whether it's Indian Americans or Latin Americans and that sort of thing, there is a representation of, I would say, an over-representation of Indians in the political sphere. But that's always a good thing for us to see.
I wouldn't say over-representation. I think I'm happy with what I'm saying. And finally,
oh, definitely, it's a good thing.
Finally, a guy like Ricky Gill, getting an invitation to come and speak at the convention, I think that is a major highlight point. So,
right.
And this election, let's just wrap it up with this final note, that this election is going to be very important for Mitt Romney and Barack Obama, because they will have to reach out to minorities like Indian nations, Latino American communities, and other communities like that.
Yes.
So they do want to grab these individuals who are young, who are into politics, and get their knowledge shared with everybody else. Give them a center stage, because they know that they will bring in the votes, and every single vote coming from these communities is crucial for both of them.
Exactly. Well, that was very well said and absolutely true. So, it'll be interesting to see how they actually woo votes of minority communities, through they have all sorts of creative ways, like their ads and their, campaigns and stuff like that.
Right after the convention, they're going to be on the road, they're going to be in a bus trip, they're going to be supporting their favorite candidates.
Yes, there's going to be stump speech
and meeting a lot of young guns, throughout the nation. So it's going to be interesting.
Exactly. Yeah. So we'll wrap up the segment on that note.
Yes.
And we'll be right back with these messages.
Eye on South Asia is brought to you by Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo, together we'll go far.